Hey, what's up? It's your girl Poohnana, the Plus Size Beauty, and we're back with another episode of She is Plus Size Beauty Sundays. And I got someone special in here, the voice, the beautiful music artist and entertainer, Amber Sauer. Hey, what's up, girl? How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I'm happy to be sitting here with you finally.
Oh my God,
I am meaning to do this for like the longest.
Yes, it's been almost a year.
Yes,
but almost a year trying to get you in here.
Maybe over that. I don't even know.
Oh my goodness,
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute.
So it's how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, girl. We're gonna get into some things because you've been doing some things.
Yes. I've been working. I've been trying to, move the needle on my career and just, get out here and be great.
That's what it's about, making your dreams come true.
Yes. Walking in your purpose.
Yes, living that LA dream.
Hello, somebody. Trying to.
My goodness. So I know who you are. Tell the world who you are, your occupation, and your hometown.
My name is Amber Sauer. I am from a small town in Northern California called Paradise.
Yes.
And I am a recording artist, a model, among many other hats that I wear.
Oh, trust me, everybody in California got multiple hats, honey. You got to pay that rent.
Yes. You know what I'm talking about.
You got to pay that rent. Anybody in California saying I'm only doing one job, you're lying.
Right, exactly. 1 + 5. Maybe 10. Yeah.
So you might be singing on Thursday and you might be like,
bartending, phones, doing mukbangs on TikTok. Who knows? You just never know.
Might be modeling one day. You never know. The California dreams, it requires you to do multiple things.
Exactly.
So Paradise.
Well, you might be familiar with Paradise. In 2018, there was something called a campfire, and it took my whole city out. Yeah, I was actually up there. I had just gotten back from doing a residency in South Korea, and my mom lives up there. So I went up to visit my mom and my stepdad, and I think it was November 8th that we got the alert that we needed to evacuate. And so
my goodness.
I went through that evacuation with my family and everything, and it was crazy. It was like a Will Smith movie, like apocalyptic, trying to get out of the city, fire and brimstone everywhere. It was wild.
That is traumatizing.
Yeah, it was.
I'm an asthmatic. I probably pass the fuck out.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. It definitely opens up your eyes to what's important in life. I definitely stuck around. I had just finished that year earlier in that year doing The Voice. So I tried to stick around and like help out. We had some benefit concerts that we held and, just try to be there for the community. But there was something like 286,000 people that were displaced as a result of that. Jesus. Most people, I think, moved on and left the city. And in a lot of ways, they're still rebuilding. But got a big sense of community at that time too. Actually wrote, because I'm a recording artist, so I wrote one of my favorite songs, one of my most favorite songs that I've ever written, All My Help. I wrote that about that experience coming out of that. So
that has to be like, regardless of how you heal from it, it's still like traumatizing in a sense. And just, Jesus Christ, I couldn't even imagine. Like I couldn't even
To be honest, I think I was so laser focused on making sure that my family was good. I didn't really take time to process how I was feeling. And as unhealthy as that may sound, it might have worked in my favor because I didn't process the trauma of what was happening to me. I was really focused on community and focused on making sure my mom was good and everyone was safe and all of our puppies were safe and, just helping facilitate what needed to happen for them at the time. So I didn't really get a chance to, I guess, internalize how that could have affected me, which I guess is great in the long run. But I was able to be there for my family, and I think that's what mattered at the time.
Oh my goodness. So. It really gives you a self moment where you kind of reflect on things that are important to you.
Yes.
And family. So family. Are you like the only child or
I did grow up as an only child. Fun fact, I'm adopted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have never known. Never knew.
It's definitely a huge part of my story. I was very fortunate. My adoption story was not like a lot of others. My biological parents had me in San Diego. So I was born a Cali girl.
Nice.
I was not there for very long. My adoptive parents, it was all set up, beforehand. And I was adopted right out. So the papers were signed before I was even born. And my adoptive parents, which are the only parents that I know as parents,
Okay.
John and Leslie adopted me, and then off we went.
Oh, that's
So yeah, but I
beautiful.
did grow up as an only child. My parents have since divorced and remarried, so I do have some step siblings, and we keep in loose contact here and there. But
Mhm.
yeah, for the better part of my childhood, I was growing up as an only child. So
I know that can sometimes be lonely, but then sometimes empowering too, because you know how to be by yourself. You know how to
very
stand
much.
alone.
And it's funny that you say that because I think the older I've gotten, the more I've really learned to appreciate time with myself and
Mhm.
self care and really having those moments to recharge my own social battery and dig into self and think about how I'm feeling and really
Yes.
address my own issues. But I think growing up, it did feel lonely. My dad was also in the military. He was a
Oh, okay.
master chief in the Navy for 25 years. And so we moved around a lot. I lived in Okinawa, Japan in second and third grade.
Amazing. Oh my God. So
Yeah,
you got some good education, girl.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely feel blessed. I feel very cultured. I've always been sort of drawn to people that were different than me. I think
Yes.
because of that, I was
Mhm.
always immersed in different cultures. So yeah, I mean, we lived in Stockton, which is a culture in and of itself.
Yes, of itself.
um,
Yes.
but yeah, for the better part of my life, I spent most of it in California. From about seventh grade on, I lived in Paradise. So that's kind of why I say that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
Before I moved to Los Angeles in 2009.
Mhm.
So I've been here for a hot minute.
Oh, trust me.
So yeah,
Good times.
yeah,
I'm like, good
good,
times. Good
good
times.
times in LA. Good times. Good times.
So having the family, the culture, the education, because I'm pretty sure when you were out there in Japan,
Hmm.
the education was just like that's something I always wanted to experience out there. It's just beautiful,
Yeah.
the culture.
Well, I was in second and third grade.
Okay.
So, with a grain of salt, you're not really interested in learning when you're that. You want to have fun and play with toys
Right.
and bike ride and do all those kinds of things. And I did do some of that, but I lived on a military base. So we lived on the naval base there where my dad
Mhm.
also worked. And so I went to school there and they have it's like mandatory that you're enrolled in culture class.
Mhm.
So, and it's funny because they had me in modeling classes even at that age.
Wow.
I was in modeling classes with some Japanese culture teachers,
Mhm.
and I learned a lot. I even had some Japanese big sister. They had like a big sister, little sister program.
Oh,
And I got
nice.
connected with a couple of Japanese big sisters that would take me around the city and like take me to Japanese fashion shows. And
Oh, I
I
would
have like
love
this
that.
second and third grade fitting like kimono that I had that I walked a runway with when I
Oh
was
my
when I was over
God.
there.
Things you
Yeah.
dream about of doing, like you
Yeah.
had the experience.
I don't think I knew at the time
Like how precious this
yes,
was and how
yes.
like
Looking
yes.
back, I'm super grateful and blessed to have had that opportunity for sure. At the time, I was just like, "What's this? Oh my god, modeling class. Okay, like
Oh, this is fun. Like you're
yeah,
like,
can
this
I go
is
ride
fun.
my bikes now?" Like
The identity.
so.
So would you see doing having those experiences, even though at a young age and just being, who you are now,
Mhm.
did you see it gave you a sense of identity?
I think so. I
Hmm.
think it definitely started shaping me at a very young age to be the all around entertainer that I am now.
Hmm.
You definitely learn how to be in front of people. You learn how to be the center of attention. You kind of learn how to process that. I don't know if I've ever really fully learned how to process, the ego of that all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because when it comes down to like who I am, on my own as just a human being, like I try to leave as much ego out of it as possible. And I'm
Mm.
really big on that. But in a lot of what I do, it's so much wrapped in the ego and the confidence and really stepping out, you're the shit.
Yeah.
So I think in second and third grade, I got a taste of that already of what that felt like and how to embody a personality,
Yeah.
whatever I thought that was at the time. So
Oh, I love that. I
definitely.
love that. I feel like
Yeah.
that gave you the ability to really go for what you want because you've been really fucking killing it in your career as
Thanks,
a
girl. You too. I
musician.
be seeing you. We're out here, okay?
Okay, we doing our
We're
thing,
doing
right?
our
We doing our
thing. We're
thing.
just trying to be great.
Your voice.
Thank
You
you.
have a strong, soulful
Thank you. I
voice.
appreciate that.
I was so proud of you when
Oh,
I remember that shit. I was with my ex-boyfriend. We're not gonna say his name.
let's
But
not.
like
Let's not.
you were on The Voice.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
I seen you, I was like, I know her. I was like, I know her. I know her.
It was an awesome experience. I've made so many friends from that experience who've had
Amazing.
all different variations of how it went for them. I always say, like, I had a really awesome experience. Short of going home earlier than what I expected, I couldn't have had a more perfect experience. And I think in hindsight, I'm glad that I went home earlier than what I had hoped. You know,
Okay.
at the time, I mean, I was living in ego. I
Yeah.
was really wanting to stick around. I wanted to win the show. I was like, this is
Yeah.
it, you know. But fun fact, I went home in the battle rounds, and the very next morning, I was in surgery for a life-altering condition that I didn't know that I had.
Oh.
And had I not been sent home at the time that I was, and had I waited even just a week later, the doctor said it would have been fatal. So everything
Oh
happens
my
for a reason,
goodness.
and that's kind of the way that I live my life. And in regards to that experience, I'm super grateful that it happened the way that it did. And also, fun fact, when you're on the show, the longer you're on the show, the more stringent your contracts get.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, in hindsight is always 2020, right?
Yeah.
In hindsight, I'm grateful that I got in and got some great exposure, got the experience, and got out. Because the more stringent your contract gets, the more you're looking at paying royalties and having ownership issues of your own music in terms of the network owning pieces of it and all that kind of
Oh
stuff.
my goodness. See, we don't
Yeah.
really go into
No,
depth
we don't.
of that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're speaking of it because
Yeah.
some people just think that, hey, I'm on the show. It's the exposure. They don't
Correct.
look at the background of
They
it and the
don't.
tedious things that you have to deal with
Absolutely.
on that show.
And they don't talk about also, you know, we see the blind audition on TV and we think this is the first stop for these contestants. It's really not. We've been in a process for about 2 months, sequestered in a hotel, and going through legal contracts, learning about the process, dealing with hair and makeup and
Yes.
wardrobe, you know, constructing your song, going back and forth with the band and the music director, working with the vocal coaches that are there for you to help for your blind audition, but not the celebrity coaches, but the actual vocal coaches
Yes.
to help you through the process, right? And you're sequestered during that whole time. You're not allowed to talk about what you're doing. You're not allowed to tell anybody what you're doing.
Right.
Stuck in a hotel with 120 random strangers from all over the world that are all over the nation that want to be in the same position that you are. You make a lot of friends, you know, even some enemies. And it's quite a process before you even get to the blind audition.
Wow.
There's so much that happens before that round. There's probably at least 10 rounds and one big thick stack of paperwork before you even get to the part that everyone sees on TV.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
that is mind blowing. That is mind blowing. That will make you be like, because I see what they're doing. They're trying to weed out the weak.
Of course.
To see how can you handle this.
Yeah.
Do you have the
and I could,
capacity
and can and
did
did.
And did.
Well, because I was a working musician prior to The Voice and am a working musician, recording artist after. A lot of people don't have that story. They're plucked from little small towns somewhere in Midwest
with this big old dream.
Yep, and they come out and it's quite the, I don't know if am I allowed to curse?
No, girl, do your thing.
Girl, that thing is a mind fuck. Okay?
Oh, Jesus.
Because you go from, I'm imagining for some of the contestants going from like the small town in rural America and then being plucked and brought to Hollywood and you see all the glitz and the glamour. You get this taste of what it might be like. And then you go home and it's quiet. You know, I compare it to being very similar to coming off of tour, having toured as a background vocalist. And then you go back to your hotel room after singing in an arena and hearing the crowds roar and it's quiet in your hotel room. It's a bit of a mind fuck. It's hard to explain, but anyone that's been through it, even for me as a working musician, it does a number a little bit on you. You get a taste. I mean, you have hair and makeup and wardrobe catering to your every need.
Yeah.
Things are being fitted to your body precisely to make you look good. Executive producers and producers are always in your ear about how great you are and how much they love you on the show.
Yeah.
You're meeting celebrities. You're doing interviews.
You're doing all this
press.
amazingness. Yeah.
Having an attorney speak with you about your specific legal contract, you get a sense of what it might be like for Beyonce or for people who are really doing this. And then it's ripped away from you. And there's only one stop when you are eliminated from the show. You go to this little trailer where there's a psychologist who basically evaluates you on your current state of mental health to determine for liability reasons if you're going to or not. And if they sign you off, then you go home and that's a wrap. And then you get about, depending on your contract, which in particular mine was 2 years, my blind audition was on YouTube on NBC, The Voice account for 2 years, and then it's ripped off. So however many views, however many, comments, likes, or otherwise that you've gotten, which, as you know, as an influencer is difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah.
That is all just sort of like ripped away, and you start from scratch again.
Jesus.
You might have a little more cachet to work with having been on the show, and I did, and I have worked with that as best I could. But, these are all little tidbits that people don't talk about. You can't buy the type of exposure on a nationally syndicated show like that.
Yeah.
Immediately being exposed to billions of viewers, and then having my blind audition, damn near went viral. I had close to 4 billion views.
Bitch, I am gagging.
Okay,
oh
on my
goodness.
blind audition. Because I did, they gave me 2 options for song choices. Normally they tell you what you're singing. I was the only one in my season that they gave 2 options to. They told me I could either sing Versace on the Floor, Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Or Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. And for me as a musician, Versace on the Floor is kind of perfect just as it is.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great parts about the show is taking songs and making it your
own. Yes.
So I chose Shape of You out of the 2, and I chose to kind of flip it and make it my own for that reason, because I felt like Versace on the Floor was just sort of great as it was. I didn't want to touch that or change it too much. So yeah, I had a very unique overall experience compared to a lot of my other fellow contestants, but super grateful for it. It was a great moment. The blind audition was a great moment for me. I was the final pick of the draft season.
I love that.
There was only 1 spot available on anyone's team at all when I walked out on stage. I didn't know that.
Wow.
But, so and to have that be with Kelly Clarkson was it was really the perfect sort of.
And just to get that praise from her, I know that
was
awesome. that was like,
it was awesome.
That was the validation of the moment.
She was everything.
That was the validation of the moment.
So there's a lot behind that show that people often don't get to see, but overall, I'm really grateful for that experience.
I'm glad you had a learning but yet highly positive experience through all of its tedious things that comes with being on reality television and just like a musician. Right. So I'm glad your experience wasn't as, negative as most, because some people will go on shows like that and will come back and will air it out.
Yeah.
They will air it out from top to bottom.
There's always going to be negative sides.
Right.
And especially if you operate and you live your life that way, looking for those things, you're always going to find it, right? They say don't go looking for trouble because you'll find it. And so I think my perspective has a lot to do with that anyway. I was so damn grateful to be there, and I was so damn happy and ready and poised for that moment that there wouldn't have been anything that would have kicked me off of that horse, right? Including my own health. I had been suffering and just wasn't even paying attention to it. I'd had this pain in my groin, and I had been working out, and I kept saying like, oh, it's probably just,
like my muscles. I'm just like,
I'm
working out my body.
Hard.
Yeah, I just worked out my body.
I just did too much. I'll just have to take it easy. But the truth is I had an enlarged lymph node that had ruptured inside my groin area.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was slowly but efficiently dying.
Oh my goodness.
No, reality, it's true. Had I had my way and stuck around the show even one more week, it would have been a wrap for me, and I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. So like I said, I choose to look at things purposefully. I choose to look at life that way. And my experience is that. So I'm grateful.
I love that you have that word insight.
To sum it up.
For me, that's just like God telling you, not right now.
Yeah.
It's not right now. I got a different path for you.
I'm going to give this. I feel like it was God saying, you know what? I'm going to give you a little bit of what you want, so you know that I got you.
Yeah.
I need you to know that I got your back. But at the same time, I'm going to also pull you out before it gets too bad, because I know,
He like, baby, I need to save your life real quick. And I need you to stop what you're doing.
We have more things for you to do. And there would be. That was in 2018, so there would be so much more, even just television that I would get the opportunity to work in. That otherwise, like I said, had I had my way, it wouldn't have happened.
You've been doing some good accolades. Like I'm talking about you were singing, I believe it was Dancing with the Stars.
Ma'am. Season 32 and
yes.
So last season.
I love Dancing with the Stars.
Me too. It's so much fun. Last season I got the chance to do the Whitney Houston episode where they featured all of her music.
I know.
And the
That's your
Taylor Swift.
girl.
Oh, girl.
That's your
Whitney
girl.
is probably one of the biggest reasons I'm a singer at all. Like, I just grew up just completely idolizing her. She was everything to me. And, you know, I wish she was still here.
I even went to go see her, the remake, like the movie, the biopic they did of Want to Love Somebody.
Yeah. I Want to Dance with Somebody.
They did that biopic so great.
Yeah.
And because they, you know, they've done like biopics on her that's like
have.
on television. I felt like they haven't really like met the
There's
mark,
too many.
but that movie met the mark for me.
Is that the one with the concert in Africa and all of that?
All of that. And I think
Yeah.
it even talked about her love life, how, you know, at one point, you know, she had a lesbian lover,
Yeah.
which was old girl.
Robin.
And Robin.
Yeah.
And things. And they got into depth in that.
Also her manager.
My grandmother used to tell me stories, but I used to didn't like try to believe that. But when they
Yeah.
showcased that, I said, oh, that was really true.
Yeah.
My grandmother was not lying.
She never did any, you know, she never confirmed that in any of her interviews.
Right.
I think Whitney was fluid. I mean, you could tell
Yeah.
that she was an open individual. She wanted love and she wanted to love. And I think that came in different forms for her. So I can relate to that very much.
Oh, you currently been doing your shit because
Yeah.
you just currently with the parade.
Yes. The Macy's Thanksgiving
You did your
Day
collaboration
Parade.
with that.
I did.
Tell me
yeah.
a little bit of depth of that.
So, last year I got the chance to see the parade in New York in person, and it was such a magnificent experience. But this year I got to work with Ariana Maddox, who is the host of Love Island.
Yes.
And we collaborated. I recorded a demo for her to perform on the parade on the Peacock float. And then I also recorded her background vocals. So I'm featured vocally. And though you don't see me, you can hear my background vocals in the track.
Oh, honey, we hear you.
And so also the music director for Dancing with the Stars, Ray Chu, is also the music director for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he called me and we got together with the team and got that done. And it was a super fun experience. Grateful for that as well.
Oh my goodness. Next, I'm telling you, we're going to manifest this. You're going to be on a float.
Hey,
I
I
there
received
singing.
it. I want to
letting
do
the
it.
world
That
hear
would
your
be-
voice,
That would be
doing your
amazing.
thing.
That would be amazing. You got to come to New York with me.
Oh, you know, I love New York.
Okay.
I love New York.
Me
Any
too.
chance I get, I'll be trying to get over there.
The
It's
energy
just,
in New York is just different.
I
right?
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love how you could just literally get on the subway and go anywhere in that
Yeah.
city.
I feel like people walk down the streets of New York with like purpose and intention. You know,
I'm just fucking tired of driving. Like, it'd be days where I wish I was rich and I had somebody to drive me.
I feel you.
I'm just sick of the traffic. I'm just sick of getting in
It's
the
a
car.
lot.
I'm sick of
It's a
putting
lot.
gas in my car.
It's a lot.
Whatever happened to the times where it was a man standing there that will pump your gas?
Okay.
Not the homeless, but I'm talking about like
Well,
the the service.
You got to go to Oregon because it's, you pull up to a gas station in Oregon and they still do that for you. There is no
Oh
self-service.
my goodness.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. They do it for you, and you can tip them if you want to. But
Oh
it's part of,
my
It's part of the
goodness.
Oregon state tax, I think, that they pay into.
I need that in my life. I need that in my life because it'd be some days, especially at nighttime for women.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh, for sure.
we have to be very cautious when we go
Absolutely.
to the gas stations at
Yeah.
night. So it'd be like really scary and
Mhm.
eerie.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, I don't want to pump gas. I'm gonna just drive home on E.
I feel
And then like,
Next time I go up to visit my dad, you have to come up to Oregon. So
oh, my
experience
brother, one of my bros, shout out to my bro Rail. He graduated in Oregon. And
Oh,
he always
nice.
tell me like how Oregon is just so pretty. He was like,
It's
when I get tired of
beautiful.
California, he was like, I'm gonna either move to Texas or I'm gonna move to Oregon.
It is beautiful. It's very conservative. So that's the part
Mhm.
where sometimes I'm
Mhm.
like, ooh, but maybe Portland, some of the bigger cities I think
Mhm.
are a little more progressive. So my dad lives in Eugene, well, outside of Eugene, actually, in a little small town called Almsville, and there's about 20 people. So it's wild.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
wild.
So doing all these accolades
Uh-huh.
and because I know being a musician, being an artist is so independent.
It is.
It's so hard, but I love the grit and the grind,
Yeah.
the challenges.
It's
Was-
been the journey of my soul. All the things that I think I do in entertainment has really been a soulful journey for me.
Mhm.
Because everything I do, it really connects me back to the most authentic part of myself.
Mhm.
And that's become, the older I've gotten and the more that I've learned, it's become really important to me to emulate that, like
Yeah.
to really be as close to authentic and genuine with what I put out into the universe and into the world as possible. To be somebody that maybe I wanted to see when I was younger,
Yes.
to express myself in a way that maybe I didn't feel like I could when I was younger, to inspire other people who have been through similar experiences as me, that they can really do anything that they put their mind to, and that if you crack a nut enough and keep cracking at it, eventually it's going to have to crack.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like what it's all been about for me. I've definitely been through my share of challenges, from health to experiences and otherwise. But as of lately, my season of healing has really been incredibly helpful, and it's moving me forward, I think, into this next season of inspiring others to do the same.
No, seriously, you've been putting
So,
out new music.
yes.
I've been loving that. I'm always good to hear your voice when I
Thank
see it like
you.
on social media.
Thank
Try to like
you.
save it or repost or
That's
whatnot.
very kind of you.
And
It's hard. Saves and reposts are hard to come by these days, girl.
oh, Jesus Christ. The most
Now-
what you get is like a like.
Listen, now you
They
gotta,
really like you if
you
they
gotta
comment.
hire-
You know what I
gotta
mean?
Hire Instagram and TikToks promote PR people just to be able to get anything.
I got to go on Fiverr and find somebody to boost my shit up because it's just, it's the new music.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes as an artist, you guys go into like, life be lifing. And sometimes it go into like this funk or this writer's block and whatnot. But to still create
I was there
something
for
beautiful.
a long time. I was definitely in what I would consider a writer's block, or a stint, just a dead space, a numb space.
Yeah.
A paralyzed space for quite some time, healing from a toxic relationship that I was involved in. I think this new music that I have released, the first one, Never Goes Away. And
Yes.
my follow-up, November, it's been an incredible healing experience for me, even writing those records, working on those records, finishing them up, and then creating from inception and shooting the visuals. It's been like full circle healing for me.
I've been liking the visuals. I
Thank
like
you.
the blue like type of spacey like background and whatnot that you have for that, and
Thank
not just
you.
kind of. And I could tell you were coming out your comfort zone because
Definitely.
you was like, I was like, okay, girl,
Yeah, definitely.
it's giving body, it's giving what it needs to give.
Yeah. Well, I have at this point I think lost about 150 pounds.
Oh, I
or
love
a little
that.
bit more, actually. So shooting that visual in particular was really I felt like I had something to prove to myself. Like, can I do this? Can I get in front of a camera in lingerie? Can I feel good? Can I work the camera like I know I'm the shit, And so that was a healing experience for self, I think. But even the content of that song and the way that we shot the visual with the intentions of showing the story behind that, was incredibly healing for me, for sure. So thank you, girl.
Oh, it was the actual current one. I really like it.
November.
You could tell like that is a song of healing.
It was, yeah. You can literally listen to the lyrics of the song and hear my heart breaking, because that's exactly what it did. And writing that song was even a very cathartic process, I think. Really, really saying the things out loud. I kind of grew up, my family always taught me family business is family business. Something happens and life happens, but we don't talk about that. We kind of sweep things under the rug. We get the help we need. We go to therapy, whatever we need to do, but we don't broadcast family business. And for me, that record was really me. It was the first time I think I've ever been unafraid to write about what I had felt and be real about it and be direct about it and call the spade, call a thing.
Yeah.
And do that. So, I mean, that's the lyrics of that sort of indicate what was happening when I was going through really letting this person go that I loved so much. I loved the idea of us. I loved everything about what we were doing. But I understood also that we were not right for each other. And it was an incredibly toxic situation, very abusive on both ends, me included. And, it was a healing process to write about that and speak about that publicly, to release that into the universe for people to hear, for him to potentially hear, who knows, and to just get that off of my chest. And then receiving so much love and so much feedback from people. I've gotten messages about, people who have been through similar experiences, and people that are like, wow, I never thought I could listen to a song and hear what I couldn't say. And that's been, it's been awesome.
It's kind of crazy how you say like toxic relationships. Because trust me, I'm I'm definitely
That's a
healing from
whole
one.
episode in itself.
Sometimes their toxicity, and we have to talk about this. Sometimes their toxicity can bring out yours, and it makes you react.
And it
Like,
did. It did.
and it just be like, you be like, this is not myself. Like,
Absolutely.
this is not myself. I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. You know?
Yeah.
It's
And that's exactly what happened. I think I went through a period of time where I was very unhealthfully and codependently attached to the
yes.
idea of this person and the idea of what we could be because it was so great
Yeah.
at first.
It was so great.
It was absolutely a fairy tale at first. And I even remember in the beginning thinking like, is this real? Like, is this really? Because it was just great. And I felt like I had found my person. And so for there to be such a contrast when it switched, I was devastated and I wanted to hold on so bad to what I thought that I had found, right? Because it's hard enough just to be out here and find something like that.
Yeah.
And it took me going through, I think, being unhealthfully and codependently attached and allowing this person to treat me a particular way that was really not good. And it messed with my self-esteem, my identity, my self-image, all the things that I had worked so hard to build, my whole life. And then eventually I got tired of it. And towards the end of that toxic relationship, I became just as toxic. Because I was like, oh, this is what we doing?
This what we doing? Okay.
Because I had learned that, the begging and pleading energy that I had before, the pick me, please choose me, waiting for him to see my self-worth, it wasn't working.
Yeah, no.
And I was losing my own sense of self-worth in the process. So building that back up, being away from him for a period of time and then us going at another round and it getting progressively worse abuse-wise, I bucked up at the end. I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. Because I was tired. And that
you get to that reach.
Man.
Like I'm telling you, like sometimes they will get you to that reach where you be like, all right, fuck it. We going to jail. That's what we doing tonight. We going to jail. And now you smashing shit.
Right. Because I'm a Libra. When it comes down to the soul of who I really am, I'm a peacemaker. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I can be just as petty and catty as the next person, but that's not the desire of my heart.
Yeah, that's
not who I'm really built to be. And I know that. And I knew that then. But I was tired. And I didn't know how to get my own self out of that cycle. And I think in the process of seeing someone in myself that I didn't recognize at all, that's when I knew it was done.
Oh yeah.
And I cut the cord and I was like,
I can't do this shit
I can't
no
do this.
I can't do this.
I don't recognize myself anymore. This is not who I want to be. I don't want to do this to you. I don't want you to do this to me. This is who you are.
This is not me.
But this is not who I am.
Yeah.
So I had to, gracefully exit as much as I could. And it was a process even in that. More things occurred even after that.
But I'm loving how you put that into like your music because music
took me a minute though.
Look, she like took me a minute.
I just started talking about it.
But that's good that you did.
But
did. You poured your pain. You poured your experience into music. And that's what good fucking music is.
Yeah.
It's the experience that they pour and have that gift to put into like lyrics. Creating music. If you can have a collab with 3 artists, who would it be? I know this is a tough question. I know.
I definitely think Kelly Clarkson and I should do a record or some kind of collab. I would love to be featured as an independent artist on her show. She's often brought different team members that she's had over the years. I was part of her inaugural season as a coach. So I was the very first team Kelly Clarkson. But since then, she's had a lot of teams, right, on The Voice before she quit as a coach.
Yes.
And so she's had a lot of independent artists come on her show and be featured with their original music. I would love to do that. Or maybe do a record with her. I just think that we would just have so much fun.
You guys would like mesh well.
Absolutely. Another collaboration. Oh gosh. Maybe an Eric Benet collaboration.
Okay.
So I actually, he recently released a album called Duets. You know Eric Benet?
Yeah, I know. Yes, Eric Benet.
So I'm fine as hell.
Yes,
girl, and just as fine in person. Okay, and he's funny. He's hilarious. And I'm singing background vocals on a couple of the records that are on
I
this
love that
project.
for you. Yes.
Yeah, but I would love to do a lead record with him. I would love to have a single where him and I are just singing and enjoying each other. He's good people. So, and you said a third?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't know, maybe Beyonce or something.
You know what? That's the queen. And no
Beyonce.
shade. It's like that's the queen.
Let me just knock one out real quick.
It is.
Oh, Chaperone. Chaperone. I just think she's bomb. I'm so glad that she's getting the
Chaperone.
love that she's getting now. She's progressive. She's moving forward. Some people I think aren't even ready for where she's going musically.
Mhm.
I just think she's fearless. She's brave, and I'm all about that. So I think that would be dope too.
I love that
Yeah.
for you. So as your brand, as an artist,
Yeah.
what is your dream and your goal? Like what is exactly do
Well-
you want to see? And I'm just gonna give you a span of like maybe the next 5 years.
The next
like
5 years.
your dream and goal, what you hope to
Okay.
be.
I would love to walk the Victoria's Secret runway.
Oh, don't be all.
Okay.
Like don't be all that
We gonna
and
do
the
it together.
that
We'll do it
and the
together.
Savage Fenty show.
Okay.
Those are like
Savage Fenty would be dope,
iconic.
too.
Iconic shows that they're both different aesthetics.
Yes. Yes.
They're both different aesthetics, but yes, every girl
Yes.
wants to have on those wings.
Definitely.
And
that.
I lived this past little show because they haven't done a show
Yeah.
in a long time. And I lived. I
Yes.
did. I loved it.
I think they need to call us. Rihanna, let us know. Tyra, somebody. Ashley
please.
Graham, we're available. Let us
Yes.
know. Okay. Definitely want to do that. I think I always like to say that my job as an artist in any fashion that I work in
Mhm.
is to move the emotional state of my audience.
Mhm.
So I think that applies even in working a runway or modeling. We're trying to inspire, we're trying to represent something
Yes.
on camera, on film,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So I want to do more television. I want to do more print work. I want to do
Yes.
runway. I've told you that. I want to just, it's hard to say like a specific 5-year goal. I definitely want to be nominated for a Grammy.
Oh, yes.
I definitely want to tour as myself.
Mhm.
I've toured. I've done a lot. I've seen 23 countries working as a background vocalist. So I've toured a lot. I would love to tour as myself
Mhm.
and do a lot of the jazz festivals overseas.
Oh, I would love that to see that.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, for me, I want to live in my purpose. I want to be authentic. I want to inspire other people to do the same. And whatever the road has for me, as long as it falls under those umbrellas, I'm good with it.
But you have been dipping your toe
Yes.
as like a model
Yes.
too. I've been seeing you doing this Shein.
Yes. I'm
Shout
trying
out
to be
to
like you. I'm
Shein.
trying to be like you, girl.
Ooh, dipping it in because I feel like most artists and stuff, you're gonna dip in doing modeling
Mhm.
things. It just kind of like goes.
Brand ambassador
Shout out to
work.
Shein.
Shout out to Shein.
Yes, this is one of the dresses I got on you
I
guys.
am
Shein.
head to toe
We are
Shein
head
today,
to toe in
okay?
Shein. Okay.
Shoes, okay.
I've
Head to
seen it.
toe.
I've been loving it.
Thank
You and a
you.
couple other friends I know. Shout out to my friend Arabia. You guys are like
Thank
literally
you.
like live models. I love to see it because it gives me the home
I was
shopping
gonna
network.
say, yeah. I
It
was
gives
gonna
me
say,
very much the home
it
shopping
definitely
network,
gives
90s.
HSN.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it. The girls that I work with on the 2 different shows are great. We have such a good time. We
Mhm.
kiki in the studio, and it feels very much like what we're doing now. Like we just get into some cute fits and we talk about it, and we
Oh
just,
my
oh my
goodness.
gosh, this is so cute. We give the sizes. It is very home shopping network.
Mhm.
But
Very much.
it's been a great opportunity. It's definitely been great to get exposure on a different level and to see
Mhm.
people have me do those things. I think there's just a level of exposure there that you can't buy. So it's been super fun, and we get to keep the clothes. So who doesn't love that?
Oh my God, who doesn't love that? I'm not even gonna hold you. Like Shein has been my lifesaver right now.
Yes.
Them Pretty Little Thing, Fashion Nova,
Yes.
like those are kind of like the go-to. The girls can't lie. Those are like the 3 go-tos that we
and
just kind of go
Forever
to.
21 Plus used to be my
Yes,
big
they
go-to.
used to, but I don't
They've fallen a little short the
know.
last couple of years. We need them to get on the horn again.
But you know what I've seen? I just seen a promotion today from shout out to Sweetie.
Okay.
Sweetie is doing a collab with Forever 21.
Okay,
And I
that's gonna
said,
give them the boost they need.
yes, because I was like, she
that'll
always
be
with the
good.
shit. She always with the what she called like shimmer, kind of like icy girl, icy girl type of
I
vibe.
love that for her. That's
Yes.
gonna be great. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
So juggling all this as just, being the family person that you are, growing up strong, educated, musician, beautiful voice, model.
You're so kind.
How do you really
Don't stop.
how do you really sometimes I have to ask all my guests this.
Yeah.
Juggling it all,
Mhm.
reeling it in. How do you self-care? How do you just like come down from, because I know sometimes it can be a lot.
Yeah.
Juggling days every day and multitasking, even for myself. How do you self-care? How do you just like
It
come
is a
down
lot.
from that?
If I'm being honest, it is a lot. And I have definitely dealt with seasons of anxiety and self-doubt and imposter syndrome
Mhm.
and, just feeling like, am I doing the right thing? Is it ever really going to happen for me? I've learned in my own work, I always say I do my work.
Mhm.
And I've learned in my own work to be more present in the moment and to not let stuff just, fly by the wayside and then on to the next. I try to really hone in on the moment that I'm experiencing and appreciate it for what it is, because everything that's happened prior to this moment right now has cumulatively made me who I am today.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's just a continual process, right? And every
Yeah.
moment stacks on top of the previous one in growing me, in learning me, and in discovering different facets of myself. I always say there was probably a point in 2015 when I was at my lowest, and I didn't even want to be on this planet anymore. I
Oh my
wasn't sure
goodness.
what I had to offer anybody. That something clicked and I started seeking out information. I started watching things like Super Soul Sunday. Oprah used
Yeah.
to do this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I started reading. Some of my favorite authors are Brene Brown, Eckhart Tolle, and I really
Mhm.
started diving deeper into my work. I also love Iyanla Van Zant, and
I
one of the
love her.
first books that I
Love
read
her.
cover to cover was One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. And that book changed my perspective on so many things. In addition to that, I think really diving into meditation, the idea of manifestation, the law of attraction, quantum physics, all
Yes.
just became really fascinating to me.
Mhm.
And when I was really depressed, I knew that I had to switch something up. I knew something needed to click for me. I always need something, some kind of trigger that will send me into a different direction. Otherwise it becomes a hamster wheel of sadness that I just didn't want to
I'm glad that you were able
participate
to
anymore. So I started,
identify that. Yeah.
waking up every morning, and I had to force myself, but writing 5 things down that I'm grateful for, even if it's I'm grateful for my coffee, or I'm grateful, that I woke up. Finding 5 things that I can put intentional, abundant energy into to shift, my perspective and even change the way that I think. I don't always get it right, and
Yeah.
I miss some days, but I try to lead with that practice every day, even if I don't write it down physically. I try to take a moment to think about what I'm grateful for, even first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
In those first few moments, so many people don't wake up.
I do. I read scripture every morning.
Yeah,
I read
okay.
the scripture every morning. And sometimes when I'm having a bad day,
Yeah.
shout out to Sarah. It's TD Jake's daughter. She has like this
Oh,
podcast
love
called
her.
Women Evolve.
Yes.
I have to, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, even at work, I'll put my earpiece in and I need to
Wow.
listen to her
I
word
love her.
to
Yeah.
to get my spirits back up, to get me right back on focus.
I listened to a lot of her sermons when I was coming out of that toxic relationship.
She helps a
She
lot. The
helps
things
a
that she say,
lot.
and I'm glad. What makes her really, really relatable is that she's been through shit too.
Yes, she has. And
She's
she's not afraid to talk about it.
She say, I'm finna mind your business. That's what she
Okay,
say. She be like,
yeah.
I love to mind other people's business.
And I love that she's not afraid to dig into it. So many people in ministry, I think, are so afraid to talk about the realness of the human experience.
Yes.
And, yes, we're all called to be more like Christ and all the things, right? But at the same time, like, can we just be human? Like, we all go through it. Bishops, pastors' wives, everybody in the clergy, we all go through it. Can we talk about it? And I love that she talks about it. So
I love
that about her.
So within the industry, what would you like to see more of? Whether it's like the model industry or the music industry, what would a change you'd like to see?
Evolution, more inclusion, less discrimination.
Yes.
More representation,
More diversity. Yes.
more opportunities, less intimidation. There's room for us all to be great, and so many of the naysayers say, well, no, there's not. You got to have a person who's the best so that you can comparatively. Well, we don't need to compare. There's room for us all to be great, and that can be okay. Your greatness doesn't affect mine. It doesn't intimidate mine.
Yes, it's
You
not
can be great,
competition.
exactly, and I can be great, and that shouldn't affect or intimidate you in any negative way. I'm a big upper. I like to support my sisters. I like to support my brothers.
Yes.
I think it's important, and I would love to see more of that and less hate, less judgment. And
Yeah.
we all do it. We all judge. We all kiki. We all talk about things. But publicly, I think it would be great if we all could just have a little more grace and patience, not just with ourselves, but also with others.
No, I really, really love that.
Yeah.
You have so much impacted wisdom and so much
thanks.
just like, it's beautiful.
Girl, I've been through a lot. Everybody says like, we always look at somebody's life and we envy the things that the highlight reel that they have. And we don't know what it took for them to get to that highlight reel, what they had to go through to get to the point where they could say that, do that thing, and I've definitely been through a lot, but I'm grateful that I've been able to shape who I am today with those experiences. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ. Like, I can imagine like going to some things, but
yeah.
if you had any message to the fans, like what would it be?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, even if you're not sure that you do. Delulu is the new Salulu. And I think it's okay if we live in that space. I think you can be just delusional enough to understand and be grounded in reality, but also understand you have to have a level of delusion to be able to be just crazy enough to think you can achieve any of these things. It's a wild, wild west out there. And the entertainment industry, from any facet point that you look at, is not for the weak. It is not built for the weak. You will have your down moments, you will have your up moments, but believe in yourself. You are your greatest asset. What makes you unique is your greatest asset. And if you can lean into that and believe in it, keep cracking at that nut, whatever it is that you do in life, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. And I think it's all about, I saw a quote earlier today, I don't know if I'm going to quote it exactly right, but it's not always about the circumstances with which you're dealt. It's about what you choose to do with them. So that, for me, is an all-inclusive statement that covers so many different walks of life. Wherever you've come from, wherever you've been through, whoever you are, whoever your parents are, whatever your skin color is, whatever size you are, how short, tall, big, fat, tiny you are, it doesn't matter. However much money you have. It's about what you choose to do with the cards that you're dealt. It's not about the cards that you're dealt. What do you choose to do with it? So just believe in yourself, I think. And it's okay to live in delusion.
And it's okay to be delusional because you never know.
Delulu's the new Salulu, honey.
Hello.
Okay.
And it's like whatever lemons that you get, you know what? You can make
some fire-ass lemonade, okay?
Baby, make
Throw
some
vodka.
Make a nice cocktail. You took the words off on that. Someone make a nice lemonade cocktail with that, girl, and serve it.
Yeah, serve it.
Serve
it
it
to the people.
Well, your story has been so amazing and
Thank
so
you.
inspiring.
Thank
and
you.
I'm manifesting everything for you, girl.
Likewise.
Like
I think
literally.
it's been a long time coming that we sat down.
Yes, we're gonna go to lunch.
Yes,
we're gonna sit down and we're gonna really like get into some details.
But you and I have both been working for a long time for our goals and our dreams. So I'm manifesting it for both of us.
Oh, give me a high five.
Yes, ma'am.
It was lovely having you today on the platform,
having
and you're going to exceed to everything amazing.
I receive it.
And that voice, baby,
I return it.
that voice is going to carry.
Okay.
It is going to carry, honey.
Okay, let's hope it carries us to all the places that we want to go.
Amen to that, baby.
Yeah.
So you have heard it, the beautiful story from Amber Sauer. That concludes our episode for today. And do not forget to follow me on all platforms, which is YouTube, Instagram. It is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. And don't forget to follow Amber Sauer.
Follow me.
And also here where the magic is created at the podcast place.
Shout out to Solomon.
And I will see you beauties later. Check you guys out.